Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. What a privilege it is to be here and to be introduced in such a wonderful way. I'm so happy to be with you tonight on your beautiful campus on this incredibly gorgeous day. So thank you for coming in from outside to see this. I want to start by introducing June Villers, whose piece I selected from, I think, 30 or so anonymous submissions for the New Voices. And I was immediately drawn to June's story because of an initial image that happens in the beginning, which you'll hear, she'll read it. But it had that effect of being both funny and true, which is always what anyone is looking for, and of also describing something that I knew exactly what it was, but I had never seen it or heard it described before. I could absolutely tell what the posture was that she was describing without having had that named. And for me, that has always been the magic of fiction, which is having something named that you had been heretofore unable to express. From there, I was very impressed by June's use of gaze and how lightly the story flits from perspective to perspective. And then it has a thrillerish bent to it, and I wanted to know more when I got to the end. And so I'm going to read June's bio, and then she's going to come up and read her piece. June Villers is a fourth-year English and creative writing major in the college with a minor in theater and performance studies. Outside of class, she's worked as a sound designer, a lighting designer, and a director on various university theater productions. She also serves on the board of the Dean's Men, a theater group dedicated to producing the works of Shakespeare. She's been published in Euphony Journal and hopes to find a career in storytelling, whether that's in theater, prose, or some other art form. She's from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and she likes the look of a fuzzy old television.
Hello. This is an excerpt, the beginning, of a story called Goths. We can start close up. Two women in a backfiring pickup truck. Jen's brow was furrowed, looking intently under the hood, as if staring at it enough will unlock some primordial, beautiful human ingenuity, that the gears and pistons will all make sense, that she'll see the whole mechanism and know just how to fix it, that she'll understand it like whoever it was that must have first invented it. She does not. In the far-off distance, a vulture is ripping the entrails out of what must be some roadkill. Ellie can't stop looking at it. And in the further distance, past the horizon, is the man she has texted for help. She hates him. Jen hates him, but she doesn't know he's coming. They weren't supposed to be the kind of runaways that come crying back to the folks back home, but Ellie is so tired. We'll get to the man in a moment. He's not all bad. Not all bad. The heat has not done wonders for their mutual understanding. Ellie keeps pulling at her shirt and pants in the places where the sweat has stuck it down. They can't call 911 because two 17-year-olds are bound to be asked where their parents are if they want to ride home. After about half an hour of Jen's intent but oblivious staring under the hood, kicking the car, trying the ignition, they start holding their thumbs out on the highway instead. They're parked just off I-80, about 30 minutes outside Reno, Nevada, not too far from a tow place, maybe. The money they siphoned off from their parents' purses and checkbooks over the past year will not be enough to pay for both repairs as well as, food and shelter and the gas to get to San Francisco, but they can't think about that right now. Jen makes a half-hearted joke about settling down in Reno, and Ellie doesn't think it's very funny. In their suitcases, a can of dry shampoo is slipped open and is spilling on Jen's t-shirts, but neither of them has a clue. Kill me, Jen keeps thinking, in a kind of fevered, oblivion-seeking way, and this is before she knows about the seeping shampoo. Eventually, a man pulls over in a pickup truck of his own, looking to be about mid-40s, graying, somewhat unkempt, but with stunning white teeth. The man in the other car, just an hour or two away now, is humming peacefully along I-80. Ellie's parents tell him pretty quick that Ellie and Jen have gone missing, because he's someone that they've thought of for a while as her boyfriend. Mike hasn't bothered correcting them. His head thrums because he hasn't slept in about 20 hours with cool purpose. He is barreling down the interstate with all the intensity of a spotless sky on a grim day. In his own view, he's one of Ellie's good friends. Ellie understands this. She's hoping he'll help without asking much in return. He agonized for a day or so over the couple's disappearance before receiving the text telling him that they were going to be stopping in Reno soon at a Motel 6. He's told both sets of parents that he's going to get their daughters to come back home. Quote unquote, get their daughters back, precisely. This is, conveniently, one of 2 reasons they have yet to call the police. The other is because they would like to avoid placing an arrest on the records of their precious, gifted daughters. One of them is applying to Kenya next year. They pretend they don't see the letters they left, haven't opened them, have scarcely mentioned them. It's all a big misunderstanding, and it'll get cleared up soon. And Mike, this nice young man, he'll help us get through to them. Girls, you know? The exchange with the roadside stranger is fairly straightforward. Lots of, you girls need any help? And, yes, sir. And, yeesh, when's the last time you checked your fluids? And, jumper cables aren't going to help what problem you're having, until he offers to drive them into the city, into Reno. About their truck, the man seems to agree that, with a tow line, they could haul it up to get it fixed properly, but that right this moment it was a lost cause. Ellie and Jen exchange a helpless glance before getting in the car. Ellie takes the truck keys with her, holds them between her thumb and her forefinger like a small knife, a blunt instrument. The drive is uncomfortable. The car smells of grease, and the back seat is covered in pet hairs. Ellie and Jen have to sit too close. There's a bunch of random shit on one end of the seat. I'll cut to the chase. This is not a kind man. He does not help them. He quote-unquote misses the exit to Reno, drives past it, and, eventually, onto another exit, and then onto an old country road, and then into a stretch of land with sparse, run-down houses and virtually nothing besides. Ellie is sharp, though, and she catches a few street signs, address numbers, texts Mike for the first time in about 16 hours to tell him that there's someplace else instead, to please hurry. She is indifferent, at this point, to Jen's knowing or not knowing that she has broken their promise, but Jen still does not notice. The tears welling up in her eyes are blurring her vision. The man is unbothered by the texting. He has a gun in the glove box. Ellie and Jen don't know this yet, and, frankly, all the better. They can't do anything about it right now anyway. After blinking the tears out of her eyes, Jen remembers she has a lighter in one of their suitcases. And there's the shampoo. Ellie sees a small Cessna flying overhead. Mike is putting the new directions into Google Maps. He's imagining what he'll do to the man he currently knows to be kidnapping Ellie and Jen. In the end, it's good he has another object for his frustrations. The man barely even bothers explaining why they've turned away from the city proper. He understands the position Ellie and Jen are in, maybe better than they do. He tells them, heck, I just remembered the shop is closed up for a paint job at the moment. Don't worry, though. I've actually got a tow line of my own at my house. Won't be more than a moment's detour. Maybe even faster than going into town. He can see them clearly through the rearview mirror. Ellie keeps rubbing her eyes. Every time Ellie seems to be thinking of calling 911 or is getting out her phone to place the call, either a glare from the driver or a glare from Jen convinces her otherwise. The shampoo, the shampoo. Mike pulls into the old country house driveway about half an hour after the man had taken Ellie and Jen there. He finds their luggage spilled open, a sticky dry shampoo spray can, and a lighter. The man, not that Mike would recognize him, is nowhere to be found. And then there's a crash from up in the house, a cry from Jen, and a yell from a third, unknown, but not quite masculine voice. Later on, he pieces the events together like this. Thank you.